Here's what you missed on the YouKnowDessie show.
What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, man. Traveling, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you being flexible. You know what I'm saying? Try and get it together.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
You know how I go.
Yeah.
You know, we gotta keep certain things together, man. Like it's
for sure.
This is different time. This is different type of time out here.
Yep. And then the other thing that's crazy is, like, I know you was just traveling and now I'm traveling and all of that, you know. You working through different time zones. It's a different time. It's like, okay, now what time is this? What's going on with this? Okay, where you at? And then, you know, we deal with so many people on a global level. We never know where the other person is. Like, bro, I don't know if you in New York right now. I don't know if you in Miami. I don't know if you're in LA.
Yeah, I tell you the truth. I didn't even know what day it was.
Right.
I didn't even know what day it was. I'm like, man, this is something else.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here, though, man. You know, it's some interesting things going on, man, that many of us are, you know, some of our voices need to be heard because stemming from an honest place.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's, you know, there's a lot of information flowing up there and they're not coming from validated sources. And I think that leaves us in a much more dangerous place than than we would imagine.
Right. And yeah, I just want to thank you so much for being on the YouKnowDessie show. I don't talk to a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, especially not in front of the camera. So, so it's definitely an honor to have you on this platform. And I also got to say this, like, I appreciate you for saying, like, yo, we just doing 15 minutes. Like, that ain't really long.
Can't do that.
So,
can't really do that.
Yeah,
we can't jump in.
Yeah, I had already cleared the whole hour because I already know how it is when we talk. So
right, man.
Yeah. So,
but congratulations on the platform too,
man.
You know,
thank you, bro. It's really growing now. I'm actually speaking with a couple of potential partners about, you know, turning it into a podcast and things like that. So hopefully those announcements will come sooner than later. So we shall see. But yeah, I want to take us back to the beginning, man. Tell me about, you know, coming up on the East Coast and being interested in entertainment and a connector. I feel like you're kind of like me. You're definitely a connector and on some Black Godfather type stuff. So talk to me about that.
Well, yeah, basically that's where it comes from. It comes from, in my case in particular, growing up in Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn, and definitely, you know, a challenged environment. And you have to know how to navigate pretty wisely, you know, in order to stay safe.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you gotta have a little edge to you, earn your respect. Everything is earned over there, and from that respect, I was groomed really young. You know, I have a great father. I have plenty of great uncles, a lot of good, strong men around me in my background. And also, you know, I played basketball growing up. So New York, basketball is a whole different animal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's talent everywhere, clearly and evident, but the way we embrace it all throughout the city, it's definitely it's part of the fabric. It's part of the DNA of New York. So
yeah,
you get a chance to move and interact with people from all over. You know, little things like riding the subway. You know, you ride the subway, you could be sitting next to a guy that's worth $1 billion.
Yeah,
you know. So New York is one of those places where you can interact. The rich and the poor are very much intertwined. So if a good observer, then you could benefit from some of those lessons by just observing. So doing that, you know, I adopted it. I embraced it a lot. And more importantly, my dad and my mom, like, they were very instrumental as far as ensuring that we were polite and respecting other people's space, and definitely not let somebody violate yours, you know. So
yeah,
that was a, you know, pretty good lesson. And then as far as you mentioned, entertainment and becoming a connector, you know, I had to learn a lot of that from my father, from my parents, but mainly a lot of that from my father, because coming home from school, it wasn't strange to see a major politician and a major underworld figure in my living room,
right.
and watching my father help them negotiate. And then, you know, him being friends with, you mentioned the Godfathers, like Clarence Avon, and you know, he's got Al Heyman, you know, being around like Muhammad Ali and that whole crew,
right.
when I was a very young guy, you know what I'm saying? So I watched some powerful black men interact, and most of the time they stayed behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's how I want to move. If I'm gonna move, that's how I want to move. So
yeah. And, and it's important to have that exposure as well, because, you know, so often that we only think that the only way out is to play basketball or to, you know, be a rapper or whatever that may be. So being on the business side, even though it's still entertainment, being on the business side is completely different than just being that player or that artist or whatever.
Most certainly. And don't get it, don't let me play holier than now. I thought that for a minute too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, I'm gonna hoop my way into success and stuff. And then, you know, reality sets in. And then that path ain't for everybody. And then, you know, I thought I was a little smarter than what I was. I tried some, you know, I made some moral errors. I did some things I probably shouldn't have did, but I learned that lesson quite effectively.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let me put this brain to work, because that's my best tool. And, you know, I have a cousin who's was very much involved in deep in entertainment. Still is. His name's Bryce Wilson.
Okay.
You know, he major producer, and then he started a group, Groove Theory, and things of that nature. And Bryce, he afforded me a close-up view.
Yeah.
And he always was like, yo, your skill set in a situation like this, Kainon, he said, I'm telling you, you could go real, real far. So that afforded me and some of my friends a real close-up view, and some of the elements that were involved in the entertainment industry. Yeah. You know, I wasn't really, they didn't really shock me too much, because I've been around it all my life. And then some of the other elements that other people may have been afraid of, stuff like that, I definitely wasn't afraid of that.
Yeah. And you also have the ability to connect with different kind of people, which, you know, was similar to your father. And that's always important, being able to navigate through different scenes, because, you know, sometime on a street level, you may be around these type of people, especially when you're dealing with music and basketball and things like that. But then you also know how to, you have to know how to conduct yourself in a boardroom the same way.
Sure thing.
You know, so.
That's ultimate. That's of ultimate importance. Being educated is the number one ingredient that you need. You know what I mean? So I went to school. I went to school for a long time, and I embraced it, and I still embrace education a great deal. And that's one thing a lot of people don't know about me, that they be like, oh damn, you did that. Yeah. Electrical engineering, this, that, and the third. So those are things, but everything is not for display. Right. You know, you allow some of those things to come out when necessary. You know, your traveling experience, is having the ability to travel all around the world on your own tab. Yeah. And navigate through your own tab. I think that probably gave me more leverage than anything. You know what I mean? Because the you know, being able to write your own ticket is important, because that way you always have a balanced voice in the room, because you be like, hold up, I got myself here.
Yeah.
I made sure that this is good. This is my money on the table, Slim.
Yeah.
So that changes everything in the negotiation.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm not rapping. You know what I'm saying? I'm not rapping. I'm not singing. So I'm here based on my intellect and me belonging here at the time. So
yeah, and that's really important, to be able to have that voice, and as you said, like, you know, when it comes to entertainment, there are a lot of people that, you know, that get through quote unquote riding the coattails of somebody else, but it's like when you're really supposed to be here and you really got to connect yourself, now you can voice your opinion and you can be honest, and you don't have to hold your tongue because you're worried about this particular person not agreeing with you, and now you have
absolutely,
now you out the loop because you said what you said or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm like, I always wanted to make sure that I could create my own loop.
Yes.
You know, and that, you know, that comes with some degree of risk, because you're gonna hurt a couple feelings along the way, because I'm not the guy that's just gonna agree with you. I don't care who you are. Like, if what you're saying is not making sense, then I'm not just, you know, it has to be some sort of logical play to it. Also, just because you may be looked at as successful does not make you right or validated. And it just means, because a lot of people don't even know what success really means.
Shout out to D.
My brother just jumped in.
Yeah, what's happening, my
D
brother?
Nice, what up?
Yeah.
But it's a perfect example. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a perfect example. You know, people say things like, you know, oh my God, he's just blew up overnight. He didn't just blow up overnight. He's been blown up. You know what I mean? He's been like, you know what? Like I tell him, self-destruction is 30 plus years ago. You know what I mean? That was a global thing then. You know, sometimes either you have it or you don't. Yeah. You know, but so back to that success point, you know, it just simply means the things that happen most in succession. So like your likely practice, you will probably become progressively successful in it.
Yeah.
If you understand the terrain that you're in. You know, so that's what we looking for.
Yeah, for sure. So,
and that's why I was cool with talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So even going back, like, I know we was talking about it offline the other day. We first connected when I was working for Tom Joyner. So I was Tom's assistant, and I know you've always been involved in events and marketing and several other, you know, business endeavors. So So talk about that time when you were doing some work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Me and another brother of mine, Kanye Towns, had a conversation with Tom Joyner and Oscar Joyner, and you were on that team.
Yeah.
And, you know, we saw his growth happening in a different way. So we brought it to him, and to his credit, to their credit, all you guys' credit, you guys were like, you know what? We see what y'all talking about, and I think we can most certainly benefit by working together. And y'all allowed us to do our thing in our way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Talk to people in the way that we felt like it needed to be spoken to.
Yeah.
They needed to be spoken to. And again, you know, obviously we're not responsible for Tom Joyner's, you know, iconic status and stuff like that. But we definitely were well received over there because he was willing to grow, and we saw some growth potential, and we jumped in. And the ability to humble yourself in the face of the people that came before us, who I consider icons, you know, and especially in media, you know, because that's a important tool in our journey. You know, media is it's a strategy. It's actually a military strategy term, but it is very important the way we are able to deliver messaging. And people like a Tom Joyner, people like, you know, all the folks over there at Radio One and all black media entities.
Yeah.
I think we have to look at it in a much more delicate and strategic way.
Yeah.
Or else we'll end up in some of the same positions that we currently face.
Yeah, and
know?
I'm glad you mentioned, you know, the media side of it as well. That was one thing that I loved about working for Tom Joyner is it was a party, but it was a party with a purpose. There always purpose in there. Sometimes now, now that Tom has retired, I look at some media and I'm like, man, I just hope they keep that fabric of having, you know, the proper knowledge and talking about real issues as opposed to only talking about the gossip and who's sleeping with who.
Yeah, it's like Tom Joyner put thousands of kids through school and stuff like that, you know, and that's why whatever I do, I always have a scholarship arm to it. Yeah. You know, I put my own money up to start it. I don't go to ask no brand or anything for money. I started with my own money. Yeah. And then you want to come along for the ride, you come along for the ride. But this is what this ride is going to be about. Yeah. We're going to take care of some young people that need a break. We're going to pay some scholarships. We're going to give some fellowships. We're going to do all of that. Yeah. You know, by the way, I want to shout out my son, Mari Mack. I saw you. My niece, DJ, TJ. I see you. It's the life of your party. I see you.
But yeah, it's always important to make sure that we're giving back. We have a responsibility in whatever we do, push the elevator back down to make sure other people can come up. And as we talked about exposure earlier, the same way, you know, seeing that, oh, this brother can do this. Like this brother isn't Tom Joyner, but he works with him. So that's enough, you know, so then you make kids wonder like, okay, well, what does he do? Okay, now I can get into that. Like I love the ownership talk, and you know, and keeping your IP and things like that. Like, you know, back in the day, a lot of this stuff really wasn't talked about through media at all. So, you know, we were just
many of us. Two reasons. One, we had to be covert with our messaging. And I still think that we have to be somewhat covert. Everybody doesn't need to know what we're thinking. Yeah. Right? We can have our closed room discussions, come up with our closed room strategies, and then we could get down. Yeah. You know what I mean? But to tell everybody what's going on in our heads, in our particular matters, that's not necessary. And that's not smart. Yeah. You know? So one, a lot of people, we had to be covert. The other part, people were just afraid. You know what I mean? And I understand a lot of folks grow up afraid, you know, and fear is continuous. Oh man, my big bro, AZ, East New York family, he just stopped in. I'm happy to see you. But again, just like I just mentioned my guy, these guys, I had dudes around me, people around me that always cloaked. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They cloaked me, you know what I'm saying? And they made sure that we had the confidence to go on and take on everything and anything. Yeah. So that's where certain things come from. And for me anyway, I you know, some people, I can't say where it happens. You know what I'm saying? But me, I definitely was the recipient of a lot of training. You know, I was coached. Yeah. You know, whether it be basketball, whether it be martial arts, whether it be school and stuff, I was always coached and trained to give some homage to people who come before me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what, you know, most of us had OGs, whether it was our parents, whether it was our uncles or some other, you know, like a father figure type person that was around that could kind of show you how to navigate and, you know, that you could use as an example. And I feel like sometimes there's like a middle generation that's kind of missing those OGs. And like you see, even when you talk about some of the younger music artists that don't really pay homage to the older artists. And it's like, man, they the reason you got here. You know what I'm saying? same way with Ron.
And definitely a dead end too.
Yeah.
Because you have to gather information from people who came before you. Not saying that they had all of the answers, but they have information that you could definitely utilize. You know what I'm saying? But there are some things that we definitely need to do as our folks. You know, we need certain things. We need our own think tanks.
Yeah.
You know, dark matter think tanks. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, there's nothing wrong with when we're forced to embrace everybody else's, but we have to establish some of the things on our own, and we got to act upon things sometimes based on a consensus thought.
Yeah.
You know, and think out the likely outcomes and actions and collateral occurrences in order to maneuver through some of this terrain out here. If you go out here just on emotion, then, you know, you're sitting up here, you know, you out here ready to take live rounds, and I ain't trying to take live rounds from nobody. I ain't doing that.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing because like, and that's two different things. We can get in both of them, but you know, when it comes to ownership and things like that, a lot of the things that Dame Dash, like I love Dame Dash, but sometimes he's so brash that you're looking at that part and you're not really, and people aren't really able to receive the message side of it.
Well, I mean, that's cool. Like, it depends on who you are, right? Yeah. Like, I could, like I said, I don't have to agree with everything he said, but I don't mind. Yeah. Because I'm capable of hearing the message and not overly focusing on the messenger like that. You know? So his demeanor and all of that, that's cool. Like, if you're uncomfortable with it, I mean, he ain't scaring you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you can have a conversation with him. You know, I don't think that he, you know, like I said, I don't agree with anything anybody says. Yeah. But I definitely will open my ears to listen to him. You know what I mean? Because what he talks about is, at his core, is economic independence and self-sufficiency. Yeah. Right. And being properly educated. Because if you're miseducated and you economically castrated, then look at our communities. Here we are. That's the mother and father of violence right there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And poverty. Right. So if he's speaking on that, he may be bringing it out from a frustration point at sometimes, because he's been through some things. He's watched some things happen right in front of him. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm sure that on both parts, you know, he can watch the emergence of a Jay-Z and things is going over there at over there at Team Rock and stuff like that. And then he's somewhat separated from it. But I'm pretty sure that him and Jay have a mutual respect for each other and mutual love for each other. Yeah. You know, it may just not be the right fit for each other's paths right now. But I'm sure there's a high level of love and respect from those two dudes. They're too, you know, intertwined. You know what I mean? And I know Jay is very cerebral with his approach, and so is Dane. He might be a little more vocal, but I'm pretty sure that he's cerebral as well. Yeah, and then back to another thing of you mentioning that we need, you know, to put a real plan together. And I've been looking at a lot of older, you know, speeches and things like that from the Black Panther Party. You know, right. And so that's one thing that I feel that we're kind of missing right now is, like, you know, they always had a 10-point, you know, list of things. It was a strategy. Yeah, it was a strategy, and everybody understood it. And it was clear, no matter if everybody agreed with it or not. Right. Here, because right now, if you know, if the others were to come to us and say, okay, so what do y'all really want? It would be so many different answers. It would be so many different things. But like, even if you break down, what was that, the Tuesday when everybody was supposed to black out on IG? Like, it was like, okay, are we not putting anything on IG? Or are we supposed? That's what I'm saying. Consensus thought, right? Yeah. And there has to be some sort of mediums that we share this information get this information without giving our full plan out to the masses.
Right.
You know, for them to nitpick it and stuff like that. We could pull together some of these things ourselves, and we got to protect and insulate each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we can get that back down to that a little bit down the line. But like you said, there's been great people, and you know, let's start by saying this, right?
Yeah.
All great things are not good things.
Yeah.
They're not. All great things are not good things. All great people are not good people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could be a great man, but you might not be a good father.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But so when you talk about the people that come before us, right? Yeah. Talk about Marcus Garvey, the Black Panthers, Elijah Muhammad, FOI, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, Marcus Garvey, I think it's Pan-Africanism. Elijah Muhammad, that was Black religious nationalism.
Yeah.
Black Panthers was Black socialism, things of that nature. All the ingredients had information plus action attached to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right now, it's a lot of fake leader shit going on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And their objectives a lot of them don't have information plus action. A lot of them have, let's be a deal broker.
Yeah. Or be,
you know what I'm saying?
Be in the picture. You know what I'm saying?
Let's diffuse the situation. Let's be a deal broker.
Yeah.
Like, nah, fuck out my face with that shit, man. Like, honestly, we got too many young people relying on us.
Yeah.
To give valuable information. So if we have the ability to seek it out, if we're educated and have enough access to seek out certain information, the least we could do is give them the real shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then give them some examples about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I feel, there was a void in leadership from the standpoint of like, okay, if you take the nation, like Farrakhan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Farrakhan over here with the nation. You got Al Sharpton, who's always out front as well. But it's like, where are the people that are coming up under, you know what I'm saying, that can relate to the younger demo a little bit more? You know what I'm saying? Because that's a void. That's a big void.
Well, before you start getting into names of certain things, you have got to do some research on those folks so you can speak matter-of-factly on certain things. You know, we have a cut and paste culture right now. We take a couple of things and then we move it on. We don't see the whole situation, and that's unfair. Yeah. That's unfair to people you sharing this information with. It does not work. Yeah. You know? So I point back to the institution of education. Yeah. Finding certain things out. You know? So like me, I could say matter-of-factly, like something happened to me, something happened to one of my people, whatever. Nah, I don't need Al Sharpton speaking in my funeral. Because I'm on a different kind of time after that. Plus, and if you ask me why, I could privately tell you why. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But publicly, there's certain things I wouldn't say. And that's about any names that you mentioned. Yeah. You know, but that comes with an investment of education from every one of us. We have a responsibility. Yeah. You know? So find out what it is. Find out what propaganda means. Find out why we seeing certain images out here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Propaganda is essential to every military agenda. And if you think that we're not facing a war, if anybody thinks we're not facing some sort of war, the evidence is there. Yeah. Evidence is absolutely there, you know? But we need to understand propaganda. And the reason we tend not to understand it is because we continue to look at media channels and conduits as conduits for entertainment only. And it's not just that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was never meant to be that. So we can't overlook movies predicting us as certain way. We can't overlook media, depicting our women a certain way. We can't even overlook some of our men, you know, depicting us in a certain way, or You know, we got different kinds of responsibilities.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing, I don't like seeing certain things, but I should be able to speak on it. I should be able to speak to my sister and say, look, sis, you ain't gotta be naked.
Yeah.
All over the place, to feel like you have value. You don't have to do that.
Right.
I see you. I respect you. She should be able to come to me and say, look, brother, I don't feel very protected by you sometimes because I don't know what side you standing on. You know what I mean? So let's have those conversations with each other. I'm not with having that conversation and let somebody else control the narrative.
Yeah.
Because now it gets a little funny.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's where it gets back to having these conversations behind closed doors, because so many times people are having these conversations out in the public forums, and therefore people can't really be open and honest because they're, because even if you don't understand something nowadays, you can't even really post that you don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because cancel culture will get you before, you know what I'm saying? You can be like, bro, I don't understand why women are like this or why people are like this, and automatically they trying to cancel you.
See, but that's because to love ourselves is very, very important.
Yeah.
Right? And I know we get caught up in that, love thy neighbor, and all that. Yo, you gotta love yourself first.
Yeah.
In order to love yourself, you gotta dial in. You gotta do some self-investment. If I don't love myself and you don't love yourself, but we try to love each other.
Yeah, it's struggle.
That's like a broke person going to another broke person to get some money.
It ain't gonna work. Yeah.
It ain't gonna work, bro. You know what I'm saying? So look, but why? So why should we love ourselves, right? Why do we need to love ourselves? That's the question. So why do we need to love ourselves? Because we are in, and I say this a lot, we are in 4 wars simultaneously, right? Black people, African people, we are in 4 wars simultaneously. Yeah. 4 world wars. First, we're in a fight for humanity, because even in this country, we're not deemed as a whole citizen. We're in an amendment, which in time runs out in an amendment. In an amendment, there's some corrective things, but it's not really felt. It's not really practiced.
Yeah.
So fight for humanity. And then we got to fight for freedom, because look at what's happening. Look at the prison industrial system right now. You know what I'm saying? Look how it's set up. Look how it's tied up to mortgages. You know what I'm saying? Mortgage-backed securities and things like that. Yeah. Very, very strategic things that are going on. So it's a fight for freedom. Look at our neighborhoods, and how constricted that is, And then we have a fight for equality on multiple parts. We don't get recognized or paid for the same, and actually for more work than we do.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? And then add our women to that, they at an even step lower. So I know why they frustrated. They like, damn, I'm busting my ass out here. Yeah. We've been busting ass for a long time.
Right.
And now, you know what I'm saying? Well, I can't even get a decent wage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta watch my man go this way. I gotta watch y'all take my son and do this. I gotta bust my ass. I gotta help raise y'all kids. And now I get educated, and I'm at a point where I could get down. And y'all still don't even want to pay me. Of course, our women is frustrated.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't they be?
Right.
And we should be frustrated for them. Yeah. So, and then that other fight we fighting for survival, because we really dying. We dying. So like shit.
Yeah.
We
automatically stressed out. You know what I'm saying? As we waking up in the morning, we got all of this going on.
Dude, listen. My brother and I, we got the mental health platforms, the Doc and the Dude stuff that we talk. We got facilities and shit, right? But like the trauma that we have to go through, the stuff that we walk through the door, walk out the door with, right?
Yeah.
Both our men and our women.
Yeah.
The stuff we walk out the door with, right? Look, me going to school, I had to be 5 different dudes on my way to and from the school.
For sure.
Right? I gotta be 5. And then some of the stuff that I had to get through, overlook, you know what I mean? These are things that absolutely have to be addressed. Certain things, some of our women got to try to go to work.
Yeah.
You go to work, you got some idiot dudes talking to them crazy.
Yeah.
Then they get in the office space and they got a shadow box too, because they don't know why somebody's talking to them. They get up to go to the bathroom, you know, the chatter behind their back.
Yeah.
You know, she wants to speak, she wants to speak up for herself. Now she's crazy, she's loud.
She's an angry black woman.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She should be angry. Yeah. You know, like I said, we should be angry for her, man. But those are things that we have to address. And those are our own issues. Before we start talking to anybody else, these are the things we need to be able to chop up.
Yeah, like my son is 17, and so he's going to be a senior this year, and he plays football, but he just committed to Stanford. So he's going to Stanford next year. And it's crazy because as black men, we gotta teach them certain things. But then I'm like, man, is this like it's just so terrible because I'm talking to him about
my nephew just joined. Jay Fly, I see. My bad. I got to shout him out.
Oh, good.
Go.
But yeah,
go.
Talking to him about when you're driving and the police gets behind you, you know, I'm telling them how to navigate this system, right? And then I'm telling them, okay, well, when you go to Stanford, you know, always make sure it's 3 people in the room because you don't want to be studying with a young white girl and then it's just you and her. So, you know, but it's those things that we know and we pass down, but it's at the same time, it's like, damn, like it's terrible that I even got to have these kind of conversations.
Well, it's not, Des. It's not terrible because we got to protect them, right? And the only way to protect somebody is to make them aware. Yeah. Right? You can't go out here and act like the surroundings in the terrain is not dangerous for them, because it is. They could go out, you know, we raise our sons, you know, our families, we raise our kids to be respectful, to do everything right. Yeah. And it still might not be good enough. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like most of us have had that in common. We've had some really heavy mishaps with police. That's why we have to have internal discussions. Yeah. You know, the neighborhood has got to be very steady in protecting each other and holding down each other. Yeah. You know what I mean? We don't even go to each other's houses no more. Right. You know what I'm saying? I told you, I went my OG on the line right now, my OG AZ on the line. His mom, she already has 6 sons. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? She already has 6 sons. Yeah. And we still, she probably had 20 more. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just like my parents. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but the neighborhood protected us because we listened. You know, we responded well. Yeah. And they could hold us accountable without somebody jumping in because they knew the intentions were good. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So this is where I think we somewhat fail our kids, because we're so concerned with coveting, and we don't teach the masses, right? So you got your son, I got my sons. Yeah. But we're capable of being fathers to many. We have to be. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, the experiences I learned, I grab all my sons' friends and all they shorties. I'm like, look, y'all gonna listen. Yeah. And that's why we gotta keep ourselves up. We gotta keep ourselves popping. Right. For sure. Yeah. You know, we gotta keep ourselves popping, because if you're not, then it's gonna be difficult for them to listen to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I always try to go back to schools and speaking, you know, whether it's career days or whatever kind of situation. Even going to some of my son's school as he was coming up, going and talking to him about marketing and things like that. And then having the conversations with his friends and, you know, even some of their parents, because I come from a marketing place. And I know when he goes off to college, that'll be the first year that college athletes can actually make money off of their likeness. And like, and he's going to Stanford. One of his boys is going to Miami. Another one going to Florida State. The other boy going to Memphis or somewhere. So I'm like, hey, bro, like, y'all need to make sure that y'all know what's going on so y'all can be, you know, properly compensated as opposed to being taken advantage of.
Absolutely. We, you know, I remember when Greg Anthony was in school at UNLV. Yeah. And he started a very successful printing and economy, right? Yeah. And he was making a lot of money, and they was trying to ridicule him for that, take his scholarship away and stuff like that. Here he is on a national championship team. He's in school for business. He's exercising business practices, and he's being penalized for it. You know, fundamentally, there's a lot of things wrong with that. You know, but I would like to see more of the Greg Anthonys, you know what I mean? Like, because he doesn't have the talent. We know what LeBron James can do. Right. LeBron James is talent out of this world. Yeah. But Greg Anthony wasn't at that level of talent, but he was up here. He was, you know what I'm saying? He was very forward in the game. And those are things that ultimately don't get highlighted, right? So let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about our information, where we receive it from. Right. Yeah. Right? Who are we taking this from? Yeah. You know, right now, who can I trust? Because I'm not trusting the preacher. Yeah. I'm not doing that. Sorry. Yeah. You know, you can barely trust the teacher, you know, in schools because they're regulated by certain things. So what are we gonna do here, right? Where are we gonna pull our information? Yeah. Now, internet is pluses and minuses, right? But it can help you navigate through certain things and allow you to cross-reference certain things as well. Yeah. So you can find out who's astute in a particular field. Like we do ourselves a disservice a lot because here we are. Stop asking celebrities for information. They don't know everything. Half of them don't know shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? About outside of what they do. Yeah. You know, and other nationalities don't do that. Right. No one's sitting up here asking George Clooney about the economy balance. You know what I mean? They're not going to do that to themselves. Yeah. They go find the right, you know, ask about it. Yeah. And then we can get that type of information. We cannot do this to our certain people, and we have to insulate our power. Like, for instance, Nick Cannon, the whole situation with Nick Cannon, right? He shouldn't even be having dude shouldn't even have that conversation with him. No. He shouldn't even be having that conversation with him. You're supposed to stop that, or you're supposed to take those live rounds. Yeah. You don't even let him go down there because he in his emotions and stuff like that. We all know Nick Cannon don't have a bad bone in his body. Yeah, but he, right? Yeah, and having that conversation like that's just not a good look. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not necessary. Yeah, and because we would have looked the same way if, you know, say if 3 or 4 white guys was on there discussing Black Lives Matter without the right opinion. We gonna look at that like, man, they crazy. Like, ain't no way they can have this discussion without us. You know. But the thing is, we gotta know how to insulate our people in good situations, and we gotta know how to support some of our people who are in positions to win. Yeah. Right. And have some sort of accountable system in play that they reinvest in the gene pool, in the soil. You know, there's a reason why, you know, me and a few of my friends, we always talk about investing our own money before we start doing anything else.
Yeah.
Yo, how are you able to be successful? How you been able to get into these rooms? How are you able to have impact and influence in so many different areas, Kainon?
Yeah.
One, I put myself on the line first.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, I surround myself with people who are good intentioned people.
Yeah.
You know, not saying that you won't be disappointed sometimes, because you can, but we have to have some sort of strategy as far as moving forward. And that's in business, in economics, in our spiritual well-being.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not taking information from places that are not validated. So me being I'm a black man, African descent.
Yeah.
If I'm looking and I could look in my history, if I could look and say, damn, Africa has 4 to 5 million years of validated, progressive years.
Yeah.
3 or 4 golden ages within that time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then why am I not tapping into that? Why am I tapping in or taking anything from something that's less than 2,000 years old?
Right.
I'm not doing that. It's just not logical. So I'm not gonna totally abandon what somebody else has to offer, but I'm damn sure not gonna abandon what I've already given to the world either. And I have every right to look into. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
So it might take a little more effort, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to make sure that everybody around me takes a minute. Yo, you know, I got some brothers that challenge me every morning. I guarantee you, when I look in my phone every morning, I know there's one brother for sure. Yeah. One brother for sure is going to challenge my mind and get me. I'm going to say his name, Shaka Zulu. Yeah. He's going, I know damn well when I wake up on my phone, I'm gonna have some homework to do at some point.
Yeah, like, you
know what I mean.
Whether it's an interview or an article you done sent or something. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But that's how we remain sharp. That's how we remain progressive. Because all right, I gotta give consideration to other stuff. You know what I mean? Gotta give. So if we truly gonna be a family and we talk that shit, what up, family? What up, family? Well, then how we going to act as a family?
Yeah, you got to spread that information.
How?
Yeah, and how to learn something and not give that information to my brother, to my sister. Like, yo, I learned. You know, check into this. I'm looking at this. I'm thinking about this. You know, that type of situation.
And look, and we better listen. We better listen to our sisters. We better listen to our sisters, and not like I said, not saying that everybody's always right, but we gotta listen to our sisters because we gotta, and so we gotta allow them the comfort for them to listen to us too, right? So
yeah,
we gotta regain the confidence in each other again, so that we can trust each other.
Yeah. Once
we begin to trust each other, then we can start building on our community. You know, community, that's 2 people. Co means 2 or more. We have to start trusting each other. You know what I mean? And so if you come in the door, come in with good intentions and be a little bit more patient. You know what I mean? Well, we're not here to argue because there's no way we can exist without each other. So if we establish that and we establish respect, you know, which first starts with how you see yourself. So if I'm trying to be righteous and I see myself as righteous and you are as well, then I can reaffirm the way you see yourself. That's what respect is.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're not acting righteous, Des, then how am I supposed to respect you?
Right. Yeah. And you know, and just realizing that it's room for everybody to shine. It's room for everybody to make money. Just because you come up doesn't mean that I can't come up, and vice versa. You know,
True.
Usually so worried about the next person. No, it's okay. We both can pop and make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? It's not like there's only one spot, and so we're only fighting for that one spot. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, they'll allow us to believe that.
Yeah.
You know, that whole idea, yo, get yours. Come on, fam. Like, I want to see my brother win. I want to see my sister win. Yeah. And she should want to see me win. So if is a way that we help each other, because, you know, time is a chronological thing, right?
Yeah.
So you might be winning right now. Your train might be going fast right now.
Yeah.
Fine. Mine could go medium speed, and it might be time for me to accelerate. Maybe you can have me accelerate. That's what I'm saying. If we have if we have our own think tanks, then we can see who's designed to win, who's designed to progress, and who's designed to have some scalability that can help each other, and who has a history of doing so.
Yeah.
Right. So people say stuff, you know, men lie, numbers lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they don't tell the truth either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't tell the truth either. Like there's some irrational numbers too.
Yeah. Me and a friend of mine was having a conversation. Like, yo, can you be a billionaire without being selfish?
Probably not.
And that's.
But what's wrong with being selfish though?
No, I'm not saying I'm not saying it from a standpoint of you shouldn't want to make $1 billion, but so many people that give to other people and try to make sure other people win, they typically don't make $1 billion because they're giving of themselves.
Well, I mean, nah, that's not 100% true either. Like the billionaires, you know, people in economics, it's a moving thing. It's a science. So money is always moving. It's lending, it's borrowing, it's sharing. There's a lot of things that go on like that, right? But you asked, can you be a billionaire without being selfish? It'd be very, very difficult. But there's nothing wrong with being selfish, as long as you are able to be selfless too. Okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't be out of balance. It's not good to be out of balance, but you could definitely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
I'm saying somebody that isn't balanced.
Yeah, well, that's why you got to do it for yourself first, right?
Yeah.
When we talked about loving yourself, I got to be able to love myself and love my family in order to be able to show love elsewhere. Yeah. Because if I don't have it to give, then what I'm giving you is not love. I'm feeding you junk food. Yeah. Might sound good. Yeah. Might taste good, but later on you're gonna have diabetes and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's yes, it's interesting situation. But you know, you talked about the numbers thing, right? And you know, a few people asked me to, Kay, would you speak? Could you come on and stuff? You know, and some I've declined. You know, some of me and my brothers declined. Yeah. You know, and then the crazy shit is that one cat, he was like, yo, I want to get you and your brother on, man, but yo, y'all got to get y'all numbers up. I was like, what numbers is that, man? And he was like, yo, I mean, y'all Instagram numbers. I said, Instagram? I said, yo, bro. I said, you know how many mental health facilities we have? We got multiple mental health facilities. Yeah. My brother done went to school for 10 years. I done went to school for 6 years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We hundreds of employees. Yeah. Treated tens of thousands of people. You know what I'm saying? Invested millions of dollars in this business. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And made some money too. What fucking numbers you talking about? You talking about Instagram followers, man?
Stuff that ain't even real. This got 2 minutes before it cuts us off. Are you good? How you?
I'm good, man. We keep going, man. I'm seeing some of my folks up there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we can cut off and come back on for a little bit. I don't care.
Okay, cool.
Get to it.
I'm going to go out and then come right back in.
But give me a tough question when you come back in. I want to get to it.
Look, man, I know we talked about that, but we been having just a real conversation. So
my fangs is sharp right now. I'm ready to bite into something.
So I didn't want to have no one of them kind of conversations when we on here talking truth right now.
Nah, I understand. Yeah, they cut us off. Let's get back to it.
In, and then we can get to the shits. All right. Bet. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So, so talk about this Marbury project, because that's what, you know, I was shocked to see you on it. I know history as far as with that, but yeah, it's funny to see you, you know, on there speaking. So
right. So with the Steph Marbury joint, you know, my guys, Cootie and Chike, they produced the joint.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they definitely came and hollered at me. It was like, yo, we trying to take this in another level. We think you could be a big part of it.
Yeah.
And you know, me being part of the basketball community in New York, and stemming out to other areas, one, I know the Marbury family. They are instrumental and monumental in basketball, you know, definitely stemming from their father and their mom. You know, they have a very tight-knit family, and that's what I'm about. I'm about family. So when that opportunity came up, and I was able to watch Stephon play basketball from a long time, like, you know, he's younger than me. Yeah. So, you know, I had a chance to really observe, and watching him play basketball and watching him embrace it the way he did, I was like, damn, this dude is going to be something else. Like, just because he was so focused, like, you could clearly tell that somebody taught this kid the right way, and he was taking it all in. Yeah. And watching his path and being a fan of it, I also knew that Steph was mistreated in the media. And part of the reason he was mistreated is because he was insulated by a strong family unit. So he wasn't subjected or vulnerable to the same type of things that a lot of our athletes end up being vulnerable to, you know, because you can't have no old white coach just coming in and say, oh, this is my son, he's a father figure. No, Steph had a father. You ain't no father figure to him. So same issue that a lot of people have with Kyrie Irving. You know, he'll stiff arm you a little bit. He'll stiff arm the press and the media because they try to act like he didn't come from a family unit that put him here. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie Irving went to Duke, but Kyrie and Coach K may be a great coach and everything. Yeah. But he did not make Kyrie Irving who he was. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He was who he was before he got there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And a lot of these guys, they don't embrace the hard work that they put in and that their family sacrificed and their neighborhood sacrificed for them. Stephon is one of those guys that did. So when the opportunity became available to participate, I jumped in with both feet, and they were all very supportive, and I was able to, you know, just tell the truth, just like a lot of other brothers that was in that video. You know what I'm saying? None of that thing. They told the truth, but I said my piece. Yeah. You know?
Oh yeah. So so going back to some of the mental health work that you and your brother are doing, how long have you been in that? And I think it's really good because, you know, as Black people, it's like we caught on that kind of late. You know what I'm saying? Now it's popular and talked about a lot more often. Like God talks about it pretty much every interview he does. It was good to hear Snoop talking about it the other day when they interviewed him as well, because we just don't hear a lot about it. Usually we take things so you know, we take things internally and don't want to go and talk to somebody because we're worried about if they go spread the you know, the things.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah. One, that's true. It has become very cliche at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second, make sure my battery is doing what it's supposed to do. You know, it's cliche at this point. A lot of people are talking about it, and it's a double-edged sword with that, because one, you can't. Mental health is not something that you just let out the bag without. Hold on a second, bro. Let me plug up a little bit so that we're not crazy over here. So, yeah, mental health is not something that you just let out the bag and without a destination.
Yeah.
You get me? So, hold up. You know, we have, because you gotta understand our history as Black people. We have a interesting history with the medical industry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not been favorable for us at all. We have a long history of being mistreated and mishandled, you know, misdiagnosed. Mm-hmm. And in our mind that was one of the number one objectives of slavery, to disconnect us from our very natural minds. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's not something, that's the last thing they wanted to give back.
Right.
Right. So mental health is not something that it was ever discussed. It's like, yo, I mean, we don't even like going to regular doctors, let alone somebody who's going to get it. Because this is probably the last part that I feel that belongs to me, right, that has not been impeded on. So these are things that we have to overcome as people. And also, we don't see a lot of us in that space. And when I say us, I'm talking about those of us who are able to relate on multiple levels. Yeah. Become a doctor. My youngest brother, he's an actual doctor. He's actually a licensed clinical psychologist. Yeah. So you have to go to school for a long time to do that. Mm-hmm. Not many Black families can put their children through school for 10 years without coming in to some almost insurmountable financial burden, hardship, right? Mm-hmm. So now you got to get back to that debt. You know, even if you did. So now most of your formidable years, you were invested in school. You weren't socializing. You weren't moving around in your neighborhoods and stuff like that. And now you come out, you got to get to work. So you can be somewhat detached. So that's why you see a lot of doctors and psychologists. It's a very weird experience. Oh, come sit on the couch, and because they're very by the book. Right. Yeah. We ain't got to be like that. My brother didn't have to go through that, because fortunately enough, as a family, we were able to get through that without the financial burdens. Right. And he also played ball, and he also from East New York. So, and he got older brothers that, so if you get on some bullshit, we get you back right. Right. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And he got people around him. So those are things that were very unique. So when he said he wanted to start the mental health facilities, that was his idea. Don't get it twisted. It was his idea and his dream. We was like, okay, we can help in other ways. Help financially, get it started, because it's very expensive to start, because you got to have so much money in escrow and payroll. It's a lot of things a lot of sacrifices you have to do, right? So, you know, it was definitely a group effort. My family bonded together, and, you know, he saw it. And so for me, initially, I thought it was a financial journey. That's what I went into it. But once I got next to it, I was like, oh, shit.
You really helping.
this is real stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then he took it a step further. You know what I mean? I got to give him a lot of credit because I'm like, okay, now that I got next to it, now I see it's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I got to be committed to this. I got to learn some things. I got to re-educate myself.
Yeah.
Because I got to be helpful. But our approach and part of his therapy was an intensive in-home outpatient. So we can go anywhere. We go to your crib. We go to any hood. We go, New York, North Carolina, Chicago, DC, Philly, LA. That's where my other relationships come in. Because I know if I need to go to Chicago, I can call my dudes in Chicago. Yeah. My real dudes in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And be like, yo, fam, I'm coming here. We trying to do this. We trying to help. And that's the misconception that many of us hear. Like, oh, we got these dudes and animals or whatever. Nobody really wants to be in that situation. Yeah. Well, you got to give them legitimate direction that they trust. So if somebody that they trust, like, yo, fam, I need to come through because we need to talk. We need to get these young folks together. We need to dudes connect with each other. And I'm talking about Philly. I'm talking about DC. I'm talking about North Carolina, South Carolina, New Orleans. Yeah. You know, the New Orleans community has embraced us tremendously. Yeah. You know, whether it goes through sports and things of that nature. So we're very elastic in our approach. Mm-hmm. We mix a lot of real life situations and real life conversations within the therapy. And that's how we get down. Like, but I definitely owe much of that to the vision of my youngest brother. And how do you feel about, or give me your opinion on what's going on with Kanye? Because it's obvious that he has some kind of mental issues going on, but it's like, okay, he also is real big on promotion and selling things. And I heard an interesting take, and they were like, you know, the whole time that he was saying a lot of this stuff, even back in the day, like if you take it back to when he was talking about fashion and trying to get into the fashion industry, he never was fighting for black people as a whole. He was saying, I need to be in the fashion. He wasn't saying it's not right that they're not even letting us in the fashion. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. I feel you. Well, let me say this, because this might be a little bit unpopular, but you know, whatever. This is Dale. Sure, Kanye has some mental disorders, just like all of us. Every last one of us. You know what I'm saying? He grew up in Chicago, and it probably in a very unique space. He had certain ideas. He ain't your typical Chicago kid. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely not that. Yeah. But he had a particular dream, and it was a little bit outside of the typical lanes that probably was intended for him. So let's start there. As far as seeing the trauma and having some sort of mental deficiency, we all have our moments. Yeah. Now, Kanye also got 10 million people listening to that bullshit, right? That he's saying. This ain't the first time he said something crazy or something off the hook like that. But why are you listening to it? Why are you fueling him? So who's sick, him or you? Yeah. You know what I mean? What you giving him this energy for? You know, some of that shit is to cause up hysteria for something else. He didn't make all that money being no dummy. Exactly. Yeah. Right? So he got everybody on the hook for certain things. You know, who's sick? Who's sick? Him or you? You know, I ain't listen. I don't fuck what Kanye say. So what? Yeah. You know, I like his music. Exactly. I like his music. I don't care what he's saying. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Kanye, are you going to have him babysit your kids? Are you going to have him no. Yeah. So what, you know, everybody, oh, Kanye needs help. Nah, you need some help. Listen to that bullshit and like it's cool. Yeah. That's kind of like the Dave Chappelle joke when he was talking about why we worried about Ja Rule. You know what I'm saying? Right. Why do we Ja Rule think right now? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Taking our information from validated sources. You know what I'm saying? Dude, you a filmmaker. If you a filmmaker and I need to ask you something about making films, not saying that you don't know something about something else, but you're not an expert at that. We have other black people who are experts at that. Ask them.
Right.
Right? Don't put, you know, I don't know, Denzel Whitaker or some shit up to ask him about the state of certain things in the educational system if they don't know about that, right?
Yeah.
If they don't, or if they're not accompanied by a professional who can speak matter of factly on that.
Yeah, and that's
right?
why there's a couple of things. It's like one, we shouldn't be looking to them, and then two, sometimes celebrities just need to learn, like, you don't even
shut the fuck up.
Exactly. You said it a different way. Yeah. But
there's times where people next to them are not capable or courageous enough to stop them.
Yeah.
You know, they're not real friends. Like, how can you know your friend is going off the rails, but you're not strong enough to stop him, pull him aside?
Yeah. Like bro,
come on, man.
Yeah, like, put your phone down, bro. You need to go do. Yeah.
Look, if you see me doing some shit that's way out of character for me, Des, call me. Kane, what you doing? That ain't even you, dude. What you doing?
Yeah.
You know, so that's how it has to be to some degree. Like, but we are deformed. We are deformed. Let's be clear, right? You can't put. It's easy for us to point at a situation like that when it's on Front Street, right? You can't put Quinn, what up, baby? I see you. Fred Witt, I see you too. If you put an animal in a cage, right, and then allow it to grow naturally, then it's going to develop somewhat deformed, right? And then when it grow up, when you see it, it's easy to point to the deformity.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. It's not in your mind to point to the conditions that created the deformity.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
The root of the problem, basically.
Right. So here we are. We have, as a people, we have not been able to grow naturally.
Yeah.
We have not been able to grow naturally. So a lot of our deformities are being shown because we're growing physically. Oh, look, you know, you look in the mirror, you see growth physically, but spiritually, emotionally, and intellectually, we're still very immature because unity is still a very new concept for us.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's something that we need help and support in order to learn it. And there's angles. That's why it's a good thing. It's actually a good thing. Look at the Jewish community and look at how they weave together and come together on an agenda. There's nothing wrong. I mean, that's actually something to look at and appreciate and be like, okay, I admire that.
Yeah, a lot of the other races are like that. You know what I'm saying? They are banding together, and that's typically the problem with, you know, one of our problems is, you know, when someone does something against our community, we don't lock them out like we should. You know what I'm saying? We don't.
I said unity is a new concept for us. So if unity is a new concept, then community is a new concept. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, you don't have to. It's be very difficult to lock someone out again if you don't own it yourself.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk truth, right? Gentrification.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a new concept. It's a tactic, right? And when you see certain things, many of us, we're not even equipped to do certain things. So I live in New York. People say, oh, they gentrify in Harlem. I'll be like, really? How is that? Well, all these things that happen. I'm like, well, look, let's get some factual data here. You know, black people as a whole never really owned a large percentage of Harlem.
Yeah.
Probably between 9 and 12% at our height. So if somebody else owns something and they want it back or they want to do whatever they want with it, that's not gentrification.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? that wasn't yours. Now, when it was available, we weren't educated enough to buy it. We didn't have the forethought, right, to see how we establish those communities. So we were living in those communities. We didn't own it. So now we understand the importance of ownership in communities. So why is not the head of the agenda?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Why aren't we starting smaller investment groups that could help empower us? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's where that unity is a problem, because we won't pool our money together because we don't trust this person don't trust this person, or even successful people that nah, this my lane over here, I'm gonna stay over here and I ain't gonna worry about, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to
correct. But there's institutions in play that can protect you from that, right? So I don't have to necessarily trust you if our paperwork is set up right. Right? If it's multiple co-signers, you know, you got to act accordingly to the bylaws and stuff like that. You put parameters and boundaries in place so that you can move forward. All people of other races who do business together, they don't trust each other. They don't even like each other, but that don't mean they can't do business together.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, but if I don't like something about you, I gotta kill you, your character.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Come on. We gotta kill the chicken.
Yeah.
We gotta kill it. Why not keep the chicken alive? Let's eat omelets forever. Why not?
That's like you know, some of the owners, whether it be in the NBA or the NFL, like, they don't like each other, but they work together for the good. When it's time to, you know, when they're going against the players or whatever, the Players Association, they always figure out a way to come together and
common interest, right? Common interest, and some degree of forethought, right? So this is not something that's new.
Right.
We have, oh my goodness, we have some very educated people that can offer us up great degrees of insight. You know, there's countries that outside of this country that we can have economic empowerment through.
Yeah.
We can't allow borders to stop that process. You know, we have some wonderful brothers and sisters that are in finance and economics. We need to lean toward them much more and understand what economics is all about. It's not just money, what real currency is about. You know, there are things happening in real time in a cyclical fashion that many of us are not even aware of. You know, but how dare we invest in a luxury foreign designer brand that does not have our agenda at hand? How dare you do that? Right? So where's the logic in that? And where's the courage or the balance to have that kind of conversation? Because I've had it with a couple of people. Certain people, their mindset is like, yo, with my money, I could do what I want to do and stuff. That's true. But I should be able to have a conversation with you about economics because none of us got there ourselves. Okay?
Yeah.
So if there was a focus on having, let's say, black banks and stuff like that, like you saw that movie, The Banker, right? Did you watch that?
Yeah.
Right, with Sam Jackson, Anthony Mackie, Neil Long. So, you know, we have to be very clever and strategic on our messaging. But why is there, if banking is such successful businesses and they could do other very enhanced deals.
Roxy checked in.
Hey, what's up, Zilla? You know, if they can give us, if they can make it enhance then why is it that it's so intentful for us not to have it?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, so look, where are they, right? Let's talk about it. Black church.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, here again, I'm probably gonna piss a couple of people off, but so what, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about black church, right?
Yeah.
My grandma, my mom's, you know, my grandmother when she was alive, going to church for the longest.
Yeah.
Right? My mother going to church for the longest.
Mm-hmm.
Black church, Monday morning, Thursday morning, some of the two consistent most deposit days in banking in this country.
Yeah.
Right?
After Sunday service.
After Sunday service and after Wednesday night revival.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right? Commercial banks. 99 point something % of the black churches in this country bank with commercial banks. Right? Mm-hmm. That number that they can count on is ridiculous every week.
Yeah.
Now, what happens? These commercial banks, now they lend that money out to commercial investors at very low interest rates. Mm-hmm. And those same commercial investors come in our communities and do major developments,
buy up everything, price out. That's what real gentrification is. Price out people who live there, including who? Including mama and grandmother who've been in their church forever. Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Now, all of that money that takes in, why aren't we practicing that type of economics when we have a consortium of black folks that are giving money on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? Mm-hmm. Why? I'm saying, you know, preacher man got 3-4 cars. Preacher man got a jet, mm-hmm. and he's selling you ideas on prosperity and masking it as salvation. But where's the salvation when the school systems in your neighborhood are screwed up?
Right.
You know, where there's no extracurricular activities, where there's no development for young men and young women. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Where the police force can't be held accountable and the warrior class of men are being taken out of your community. So now there's no protection for the beautiful sisters that we have.
Yeah.
Right? That needs funding. That needs institution. That needs consistency. Mm-hmm. If those things are not in play, then it's very difficult to have a community, an elevated one anyway.
Yeah.
So we can't be beyond holding anybody accountable, whether they wear a cloth and a collar and carry a Bible or not.
Yeah, because they have the leverage, they have the notoriety, they have the number of people. It's just about what are they using it for? Because
what is your practice?
Yeah, because you know I live in Dallas and there's a million. You know what I'm saying? I live in the home of the mega church. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I'm a PK,
you know?
so you know what I'm saying. So
but look.
Yeah.
But listen. See, we can have this conversation. We can have an intellectual conversation void of emotion. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're a preacher's kid. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in a church to a degree, and then I started doing other stuff. But I still love the idea of black communion.
Yes.
Right? But if we're gonna have it, then let's have it. It should be able to be questioned.
Should
you
be
know what I'm saying?
Everything should be on the table, and nobody should get offended. It should be real conversations.
Right.
Yeah.
So that you know, look, nobody should be off limits, man. Mm-hmm. Nobody should be off limits. Yeah. You know, why we should in our state right now, we most certainly should be able to question someone's intention.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and as long, like, if I got nieces, I got 8 nieces now. Yeah. Right. I got 8 nieces. So, and if somebody puts this symbol of a woman up here on TV and say that's a symbol for female empowerment, then I should be able to question the shit she do. Mm-hmm. I should be able to to positively or negatively critique some of the actions. If this girl, if her claim to fame is doing some sketchy shit,
yeah,
then sweetheart, you're not empowering.
right.
I don't care how many followers you have. That's, you know, what certain things are based on appointment, certain things are based on achievement. If you want to show your ass naked and you get 3 million followers, I don't care about your 3 million followers because you are not contributing to the elevation right here.
Right. Yeah. And
you know,
and we get so caught up in the followers and thinking that makes people an expert because of the following. Like, you know.
Well, you can follow people. You can Jim Jones had a lot of followers too, right? I ain't talking about the rapper.
Yeah, had him drinking the Kool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you got plenty of people that have followers, and but where are they leading you to?
Yeah, like David Koresh. Same thing. Yeah.
You know, many people. So I think that's where some of our barriers come from, that unwillingness to challenge what other people are feeding us.
Yeah.
And, you know, and that's fine. If a person is afraid to do so, that's fine. Then let other people who are not speak on it.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, people who are qualified to answer a question and give validated information. But stop taking your advice from people
that don't know what they talk about.
Come on, man. It's crazy as hell.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But man,
what
I
up?
You up all day, my brother. Hey, I appreciate you for taking the time. I know we can get on here and talk all day, so we definitely gonna have to do this again. I was supposed to get Trey Ward on here like I think 3 o'clock. So I know he probably, I know his manager probably blowing me up. So,
yeah. Oh, my bad. I stepped on your time, homie.
This was necessary, and I'm glad we did it, and we definitely need to do it again because there are always things going on. I love your perspective on us as a community, and then you know I have always respected your business acumen as well. So
thank you. But before I get out of here, man, I definitely want to say, KP, I see you, brother. Appreciate you. Look, invest in the intellect, right? We invest in some sciences, right? Black people, invest in black family science. Invest in nutritional science, political and military science, you know, economic and financial science, agricultural science, agronomical science, you know what I mean? Spiritual science, you know what I'm saying? Ancient African spiritual science. Yo, science is simply the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior around us. You know what I mean? We owe it to ourselves to educate ourselves. If we don't, then we're gonna fall through the cracks. Our young ones are gonna fall through the cracks. Observation and experiment will lead us to more progressive outcomes. Period. But let's stop getting sidebarred by dumb shit. Again, love Kanye music, but I don't care what he talking about.
Yeah.
Care what he talking about. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what, look, what Tory Lanez shot Megan or whatever. Yo, come on, man. Yeah. We got bigger shit on our plate right now.
And like, even with like the NBA coming back, like, it's like, man, I understand it's a business and it has to come back, but I'm like,
listen, man, whatever. They got to get, I know why it came back. They got to get their money. Yeah. But what I'm saying is this, man. What's happening? What's happening with that money, right? So look, real quick, we got the streets painted, Black Lives Matter and all that. Look, listen, man. Martin Luther King Jr. boulevards exist all over this country, and more black people get shot on them joints than anywhere else. All right? I don't care what they say on the street. What are we practicing? What are you prepared to practice?
Exactly. that's why I'm like, man, I feel okay. Yeah, y'all got to come back and do all of this, but I'm like, man, I don't even care. Like I don't care.
Yo,
If I get another ring. Like that's just me. Like,
come on, man. Come on, man. They needed the local TV revenues in order to sustain.
Yeah.
I get it. And they took some precautions, so it's cool. You know what I'm saying? I like basketball. I miss it. But that don't take my eye off the ball. That don't take my eye off the fact that there's an economic disparity amongst black and brown people in this country. You know what I mean? It doesn't take my eye off the ball that the incarceration rate is going up, that more and more young people are getting murdered, that more and more of our black and brown women are feeling very much unprotected.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's start there. Fellas, what up with that? Like, yo, let's start earning back the trust of our women. You know, shit. Like, let's get to it. You know, because we gotta, you know, and until we get our families back together, then, and again, I'm gonna bring my brother up again because we talked about this all the time. Brother Shaka Zulu, we talk about all the time. Relative makes you, blood makes you a relative. Family is a belief system.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get our black family science together so that we could, you know, actually exist and compete in a valid way within this surrounding world, stuff like that. But go ahead, man. Yo, Des, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. I gotta jump anyway, get to something else.
Yeah.
I'm play some Marvin Gaye, my man Marvin Gaye in the back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play some Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
for sure.
Let's get back to it, man. We got a lot of work to do.
Absolutely, man. And I'm gonna hit you up later on. But I really appreciate my brother.
Appreciate that too. Thanks to all y'all for tuning in, man. Later.
Peace.